historian from India. He was a professor of history in Maharaja College, University of Mysore. He was also the founding professor of Indology Department, 1951. Dr. S. Srikanta Sastri is the first research fellow of Mysore University, and he published his book, The Sources of Karnataka History, Volume 1. His first research paper, The Conquest of Siladitya, was published in Royal Asiatic Journal of Great Britain and Ireland in June 1925. He was a polyglot who knew 14 languages such as Sanskrit, Pali, Telugu, Kannada, Tamil, Hindi, Ancient Greek, Latin, Egyptian, Hittite, Assyrian, French, German, and Ardha Magadhi. He studied epigraphy, archaeology, numismatics, astronomy, and architecture. He wrote research articles and books and also did translation work. He has published articles in English, Kannada, Telugu, Hindi, and Sanskrit. During his lifetime, he wrote 116 research articles in English, 133 articles in Kannada, 8 in Telugu, 1 in Sanskrit, and 1 Hindi article. He has produced these books in English, Sources of Karnataka History, Volume 1, and Geopolitics of India and Greater India, Srikantayana, Volume 1 and 2, collected English articles, Gangas of Talakad, Proto-Indic religion, and iconography of Vidyaranva Tantra. He wrote 7 books in Kannada and including Bharatiya Samskruti. The tragic fact is his many English and Kannada manuscripts went missing in mysterious ways, amounting to 40% of his total research output. He had to write his first English book, Sources of Karnataka History, Volume 1, 3 times. He delivered on All India Radio, that is Akashawani, 6 English lectures and 20 Kannada lectures between 1954 and 1969. Dr. S. Srikanta Sastri was the second scholar to earn a D.Litt degree from Mysore University. Dr. S. Srikanta Sastri had written a foreword to Y.G. Krishnamurthy's book, India and the New World Order, 1940. During the Second World War, the Berlin radio, controlled by propaganda chief Joseph Goebbels, discussed this book in a program with special reference to the foreword of Dr. S. Srikanta Sastri. Here in Mysore, the British Secret Service police arrested him and interrogated him. He was working as a lecturer in history in Maharaja College, Mysore. The Maharaja of Mysore, Sri Nalvadi Krishnaraja Vadiyar, was the Chancellor of Mysore University. Dr. S. Srikanta Sastri had the courage to pen an article with the title, Is the Maharaja of Mysore a True Sovereign? And it was published in a book. The Diwan of Mysore, Sir Mirza Ismail, summoned him and gave him a dressing down and told him that if Maharaja desired, the author could be sent to gallows. Dr. Sastri walked out of the meeting after telling the Diwan that if he has such powers, let him exercise it. Dr. Sastri was involved in India's freedom movement. He wrote the article, Indian Congress Polity for Haripur Congress Souvenir. He was in touch with national leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru, Subhash Chandra Bose, Bhulabhai Desai, and S. Radhakrishnan. Jawaharlal Nehru sent a copy of Discovery of India through Y.G. Krishnamurti for a book review. Dr. S. Srikanta Sastri lived in an age where Xerox copiers, computers, internet, and Google search engines were not available. He did not have the services of a typist and stenographer. He did not enjoy good health and suffered from poor eyesight, and he was hard of hearing. He suffered a paralytic stroke in 1958 and later two heart attacks. He received a meager salary of rupees 125 in colonial India, and his principal, J.C. Rollo, a Scotsman, was receiving rupees 1,000 and lived in a spacious bungalow. Late in life, he was honored with a Festschrift volume, Srikantika, English, in 1973. He was also honored by the Mythic Society Bangalore and Kannada Sahitya Parishad. The family has instituted a gold medal in Mysore University in his name. Dr. S. Srikanta Sastri, gold medal for the topper of the year in Ancient Indian History and Archaeology course. He died in Bangalore on 5th May 1974 at the age of 69 years. The website srikantashastri.org has received 10 lakhs and 55,000 visitors in the last 15 years. This QR code appears on the screen. This can be scanned and it will bring you to our website. According to Global Catalog, 7 works of Srikanta Sastri in 2 languages are available in 149 international libraries. Now, this is a brief introduction to his book, Bhartiya Samskruti. Many readers consider this seminal work as magnum opus of S. Srikanta Sastri. His mentor, Professor A.R. Krishna Shastri, a renowned scholar in Kannada, requested him to write a book on Karnataka culture. But S. Srikanta Sastri decided to cover the whole of Indian subcontinent. Hence, he resolved to narrate the 5,000 years history of Indian culture. He was going to describe in a scientific manner the geography, the geological features, and the evolution of prehistoric man in India. The book came to be written in Kannada in 1944. He submitted the manuscript to Prasaranga, Mysore University Publication Division, but the book came to be published only in 1954. It has 12 chapters, and the whole book has plenty of Sanskrit quotations without translation. Most of the readers who did not possess a knowledge of Sanskrit would skip it. The Kannada edition became a bestseller, and it has been printed 7 times from 1954 to 2022. During global COVID-19 epidemic, I decided to translate this work of my father into English. It came to be published in 2021 by notionpress.com, which is available on amazon.com. As a translator, I faced numerous problems. The original Kannada book runs to 267 pages. If I say it is encyclopedic in its dimension, it is an understatement. In the English edition, the bibliography runs to 27 pages. Dr. S. Srikanta Sastri has adopted a sutra style of writing. It is packed with so much of meaning. A translator who wants to convey its meaning may expand one sentence into a paragraph or into an independent chapter. If you want to convey its essence to a foreign reader, it becomes a difficult task. The English edition runs to 611 pages, and for non Indian English speakers, a glossary of Sanskrit words with meaning is given, and it runs to 10 pages. The book carries an excellent foreword written by Rashtrakavi K.V. Puttappa Kuvempu, who was the then Vice Chancellor of Mysore University. The first chapter discusses the salient features of civilization and culture. The Sanskrit quotations are given in Devanagari script, and the English translation is given below. Yes, Srikanta Sastri says the ultimate goal of life is to realize one's own soul, Atma Gnana. The cultural differences emerge over a period of time. It depends on geographical location and economic activity in that region. All these factors contribute to the flowering of a civilization. Culture has proved to be a living entity in the progress of mankind. According to S. Srikanta Sastri, the word Samskruti, culture, is derived from the Sanskrit root word Vyavasaya, agriculture. The word civilization denotes urban culture. Civilization depends on culture and not vice versa. S. Srikanta Sastri, within quotes, the right conduct and morality, a code of marriage customs, compassion towards all forms of life, promotion of charity as a noble virtue, and the feeling of universal brotherhood appeared for the first time in Asia. Chapter 2, Part 1. This chapter, called Physical Features of the Indian Subcontinent, deals with the geographical and geological features. Dr. Shastri deals with ancient concept of Jambu Dwepa, Bharatavarsha, and Bharatakanda, which reoccurs again and again in our Puranas. Then Dr. Shastri gives a list of geological changes that have occurred after Pleistocene glaciation in India. 1. Silurian, 24.6 million years. Paleolithic Age, 1. Mesolithic Age, 2. Neolithic Age, 3. Chalcolithic Age, Copper Age, 4. Cenozoic Age, 3. Pleistocene 4 epoch, 1.8 million years to 10,000 years. Pliocene, Sohan Valley, Northwest India. In this context, he says, within quotes, in the tantric form of worship, the human body is compared to the country, and the complete identification of the human body with the land is a yogic practice of Tantra philosophy. Explanation follows by Dr. Shastri. Chapter 2, Part 2. This chapter is titled Early Man in India. Here, Dr. S. Srikant Shastri says that in the early Azoic age, the life forms were absent. After the Azoic or Archean and in the early Paleozoic age, around 4.8 billion years ago, the life forms began to appear on the Indian subcontinent. Yes, Srikanta Shastri says that 10 avatars, Dashavatara, of Vishnu parallels the story of human evolution. I wish to quote here, within quotation marks, language and race do not have any natural affinity. Hence, there is no classification of race like Aryan race or Dravidian race based on the language used by a group of people, unquote. Dr. Shastri discusses the classification of Indian races by famous anthropologists like Herbert Pope Risley, Parajiter, and Dr. Eichstädt. Parajiter discusses the relevance of ancient Puranic classification of Chandravamsha, Saudyamnar, and Suryavamshi. The indigenous tribal people of India who live in the forest are called Vedid. They are subdivided into two groups, Gondid and Melanid. Our Brahma Rishis lived in the Ganga Yamuna river basin, and this region is called Brahmavarta. According to many Western scholars, Rigveda Samhita was composed by rishis in the eastern region next to Punjab. The river Stuti begins with the rivers in the east and then moves on to the western region. Chapter 2, part 3 deals with languages of India. Dr. S. Srikanta Sastri says, in the Indian subcontinent, there are at least 300 languages, which can be divided into Aryan and Dravidian groups. In this chapter, he gives a comparative table of Hattili Sanskrit and Hittite Sanskrit words, which are similar in sound and meaning. Here is a quotation. Within quotes, we can summarize from all these facts that Vedic Sanskrit had reached Anatolia even before Bogsa Koi inscription and Tel al-Amarna letter, which was composed in 1400 BC and had spread all over Syria, unquote. According to him, the various mutations of Vedic Sanskrit finally crystallized in the form of Avestan language around 300 BC. In its journey through the northwest, it resulted in Paishachi and Prakrit languages, and in its southward journey, it resulted in the creation of Proto-Dravidian languages. He also discusses Munda Mon Khmer languages found in central and eastern parts of India. Chapter 3, the Proto-Indic culture. In this chapter, Dr. S. Srikanta Sastri discusses the prehistoric period in India. The anthropologists have divided this period into Stone Age and Chalcolithic Age. According to Dr. Eichstädt, the Vedid people drove out Indo-Niggrit people out of this region and occupied their habitat. Some experts think that this culture prevailed in Brahmagiri and Chandravalli area of Karnataka state. The Neolithic age began in India with the introduction of agriculture. The Indian family practiced matriarchal system of family. The hillocks near Bellary give evidence of the beginnings of Iron Age. There was a big iron making foundry at Kuppagal in Bellary district. The visitor can see cave paintings of Neolithic age here. Dr. Shastri is the first Indian historian who rejected the Aryan invasion theory, lock, stock, and barrel. In the early layers of Harappa civilization, evidence of copper Stone Age culture has been found. The archaeologist Marshall concludes that Indus Valley civilization is Dravidian and non-Aryan. This argument is a byproduct of a grand illusion. In the ancient Indus Valley cities, both types of skulls have been excavated, the elongated skulls and the large skulls, and hence it is difficult to categorize them. In Rigveda, these towns of Aryans and Dasyus are called Puras. Dr. Mackay states that artifacts connected with horse, such as saddles, stirrups, and reins, have been excavated during archaeological diggings. The Indus Valley people possessed an alphabet, Rucho Akshare Parame Yoman Rigveda. Without the help of a script and alphabet, the study of astrology, poetic meters, and various other aspects of Vedic literature become redundant and pointless. The Indus Valley civilization came to an end around 2200 BC. Its impact and influence have survived till this date. Some of them are yoga, worship of Pashupati, and Mother Goddess, and phallic worship. Such animals as cow, bull, snake, and peepal tree, Ficus religiosa, are worshipped by Hindus even today. Chapter 4, Part 1, Vedic Culture. Veda denotes knowledge. This ethereal knowledge helps us to achieve salvation. Dr. Shastri says Vedas teach us the mystical and extrasensory elements of universal truth in a subtle manner. The author discusses the four important aspects of Purusharthas: Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. But if we want to comprehend the true meaning of Vedic hymns, one must master three disciplines. Shiksha, one must master these disciplines: Shiksha, Vyakarna, Chandas, Nirukta, Jyotisha, and Kalpa. A mere historical and contextual analysis will not help render its hidden mystical meaning. Through scientific analysis or by linguistic analysis, it cannot be probed. The Vedic hymns do not lend themselves for interpretation through the ideological pedagogy of different schools of philosophy. Dr. S. Srikanta Sastri gives the date of Rigveda as given by other scholars. Number one, Lokamanya Tilak and Hermann George Jacobi, 4500 BC to 6000 BC. S.V. Venkateshwara, 10,000 BC. C.V. Vaidya, Shatapatha Brahmana, 2000 BC. Patankar, Taitareya Samhita, Rigveda 5-5-11, 5-5, 11,000 BC. P.C. Sengupta, 3000 BC. Ketkar, Taitareya Brahmana, 2500 years ago. Chapter 4, Part 2, the Vedic Scholarship. In this chapter, the author declares that the Veda is one whole text, which is divided into four divisions for convenience. Rigveda first helps a novice to memorize the hymns. Yajurveda helps rishis, brahmins, and others to perform yajna. Samaveda helps a learner to develop musical skills and please gods. Atharva Veda is learned to enhance a person's progress, welfare, and development in life. It is used during a yajna and in magical rituals. These dates are assigned by Dr. S. Srikanta Sastri. 1. Brahmanas, 1250 to 1100 BC. 2. Brahmanas and Upanishads, 1100-900 BC. 3. Brahmanas and Upanishads, 900-750 BC. 4. Brahmanas and Upanishads, 750-550 BC. 5th, birth of Jaina and Buddhist religion, 500 BC. Of course, Dr. S. Srikanta Sastri in the text gives more information about the Brahmanas and Upanishads which were composed during these periods. The Shadangas and Sutras aid a student to learn Vedas. What are Shastras? Shastras are life givers and they preach about permanence and impermanence of life. They teach us discrimination and instruct us about pravrutti, active social life, and nivrutti, renunciation in our life. Smrutis were composed between 200 AD and 700 AD. Dr. S. Srikanta Sastri writes, Bhashyas can be described as concordance of sutras arranged in an alphabetical order. Words are classified according to their subject, meaning, prior undertaking of a concept, and reply to questions raised by a doubter, which are included in the text. Chapter 4, Part 3. The section deals with Vedic culture. Indigenous Aryans during the Vedic period had graduated from pastoral stage to agricultural stage. The Aryans of India did not practice the law of primogeniture. There was equitable distribution of landed property among all the sons. The Vedic Aryans performed yajnas in the spring season. They described, within quotes, Anaryans as Pishitasana, consumers of half-cooked meat, Palasi, snatchers of others' lives, and Asura, demon-like beings, which substantiates their contempt towards non-vegetarians, meat eaters. The following ingredients are used in a yajna: yava dhanya, jave godi, wheat barley, semolina. 2. Nellu, paddy, rice. 3. Wheat. 4. Shali, rice boiled in milk with sugar. 5. Ellu, sesame seeds. 6. Shana, hemp. 7. Hesaru, green gram. 8. Sugar. 9. Jaggery. 10. Soma drink, which is prepared from the root of soma plant and other plants. 11 and 12. Sura and Madhya, alcoholic drinks. During Vedic age, gods were classified under 4 Varanas: Agni, Bruhaspati, Brahmin; Indra, Varuna, Soma, Yama, Vishnu, Kshatriya; Vasu, Rudra, Aditya, Vishve, Deva, Marut, Vaishyas; Pushan, Shudra. The soldiers of king's army used weaponry made from gold, copper, and bronze. They used armor, breastplates, helmets, bows and arrows, spears, and battle axes. The ordinary people were familiar with razor blades, scissors, and stitching needles. They also had chariots. The Vedic corpus espouses bhakti, jnana, karma, and other philosophical concepts such as, within quotes, shraddha, devotion, and within quotes, upasana, adoration or service, mentioned in the Upanishads. Chapter 4, Part 4, History and Mythology. The word itihasa, Sanskrit root word, iti plus ha plus asa, means it was like this in the past, came to be recorded in a text. The Puranas have subsections like Sarga, Pratisarga, Vamsha, Manvantara, and Vamshanucharita, dynastic history. It is believed that all Puranas are written by Vyasa. It is also believed by the faithful that Vyasa divided the Veda into 4 divisions. The Puranas are of recent origin. The 18 Puranas are different organs of Mahavishnu. Apart from 18 Puranas, we have sub-Puranas and thousands of Sthala Puranas. These 3 Puranas, Vayu, Vishnu, and Padma Puranas, were composed before 320 AD. These Puranas describe the Gupta Empire before its expansion by Samudragupta. The Puranas were composed in three stages. The first stage is from the Mahabharata war to the rule of Mahapadmanandan. The second stage begins in 320 BC and ends in 320 AD. The third stage began during the reign of Chandragupta Maurya in 340 BC and ended in 647 AD during the reign of Harshavardhana. The Adi Ramayana was composed by sage Valmiki during 7th century BC. The scenes from Ramayana have been carved on stone panels of the exterior of temples in Angkor Wat, Cambodia, Bhutan and Nom, Baking, Cambodia, and Prambanam Temple, Indonesia. According to S. Srikanta Sastri, Mahabharata, which is called as the fifth Veda, must have been composed by sage Vyasa. The present forum was given by descendants of Bhrigu Gotra clan, according to Suktankar. According to some Western scholars, the Mahabharata epic was called Jaya in an earlier period. The original work contained 24,000 shlokas, and later versions got expanded to 100,000 shlokas. Some Western scholars consider Bhagavad Gita as a later addition to the main text, but philosophers like Sri Shankaracharya, Sri Ramanujacharya, Sri Madhvacharya, and many others consider Bhagavad Gita with 700 shlokas, which is divided into 18 chapters, forms an independent text in its own right. The 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita has been divided into three divisions as Tat, Tvam, and Asi. The famous commentator Sri Yamunacharya, in his work Gitartha Sangraha, lists three divisions as follows: Karma, Jnana, and Bhakti. Prapatti, when the Mahabharata acquired the present shape, during that period, both Sanatana Dharma, within brackets, eternal vibrant religion, and Girvana Bhasha, the language of gods, Sanskrit, faced a crisis in India. All the noble aspects of Sanatana Dharma had suffered a decline and decay. There was an urgent need for reviving the philosophical values. During this period, the Buddhist works Shata Sahasrika, Prajna Paramita, and Vinaya were being composed. The author of Bruhat Katha, Gunadhya, was writing his huge, voluminous work at that time. This is first part of my lecture, and I would like to inform the Kannada knowing audience that Bhartiya Samskruti 7th edition with translation for Sanskrit quotations done by Dr. K.L. Prasannakshi is available and it is published by Kamadhenu Book Publishers, and it is also available from our website. And as far as the English translation, Indian Culture is published by Dr. Notion Press, by the notionpress.com. It is also available in USA on Amazon.com. And Walmart, I'm told, is also selling my book. A Life in History is an academic biography of Dr. S. Srikanta Sastri. It informs the reader more about his academic achievements and his writings and his achievements in the field of history at the regional level, national level, and at the international level. In this context, I would like to mention Dr. S. Srikanta Sastri is the first historian from India to write a book on geopolitics and Greater India in 1943, when the subject was still new. Today, geopolitics is the most discussed topic on television channels, and Dr. Shastri was a harbinger, and he quotes a lot of German scholars in this book. Srikantayana Volume 1 and Volume 2, published by Mythic Society, has all his English research articles, and they can be purchased from Mythic Society or from our website. And it gives an idea about Srikant Shastri's achievements. Of course, he passed away in 1974, and so many new developments have taken place in the field of archaeology, history, and geopolitics. But still, many feel Srikanta Shastri is not dated. He's still relevant, especially Bhartiya Samskruti uh, is an encyclopedia. It covers all aspects of Indian culture. In my part 2 lecture, I will deal with the remaining uh, chapters, which cover all the aspects, including the Indian way of eating, metallurgy, mathematics, chemistry, medicine, and international trade, etc. I thank all the listeners for bearing with me, and I thank Mr. Aswath once again for giving me this opportunity to address all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Naganath. As all of you have noticed, you can see in what a broad spectrum uh, of Indian culture in various forms it expresses itself. And almost every sentence that Professor Naganath has talked about can become a 1 hour lecture in when we expand it. So the great service that Professor Naganath has done today is to lay the the introduction to Bhartiya Samskriti. What are all the facets of the Samskriti that one can study? And we will actually go in the coming lectures, we will study all of these aspects. For example, the archaeology, we will also have studies on the iconography, on temple building. In fact, Professor Srikant Sastri has written a seminal book on the architecture of temples, the Hoysala Vastushilpa, another extraordinary book that he has written. It is in Kannada. I do not know whether it has been translated into English, Naganath. Not yet. Yeah, not yet. Yes. So that's another wonderful book that Dr. Srikant Sastri has done. So a few personal experiences with Dr. Srikant Sastri. As I mentioned, that he is my grandmother's elder brother, and I had occasion a number of times spent many summer holidays in Mysore with him. Uh, One of the works that he was doing was translating the Yajurveda. Uh, and then correcting many of the aspects that Sayana had overlooked. And then he was also dedicating quite a lot of his time in deciphering and decoding the Harappan script. In one of his very meditative moments, Dr. Srikant Sastri told me that once he completely decodes the language, he would name his house as Harayupiya. Uh, so I was asking him, what does that mean? That is the language of the Harappan that they spoke in those days. So I want to give that name. Unfortunately, he did not live long enough to achieve that. So it has been an extraordinary lecture, Professor Naganath, and we all look forward for the second part of the presentation. And you have laid down the platform for the upcoming lectures on Bhartiya Samskruti. So before we can open the floor for any questions that you may have, I would like to announce the next talk, the 115th on Pratibha Mancha series. This will be next Monday in United States. That is Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Tuesday, May 6th, Indian Standard Time at 6:30 in the morning. The subject is the contribution of Pali language to Bhartiya Samskriti. Our speaker is Professor C. Upendra Rao. He is the professor of Pali and Sanskrit from Jawaharlal Nehru University in New Delhi. Again, this will be next Monday, May 4th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And all of you are again welcome to Professor Upendra Rao's presentation. And thank you very much, Naganath. Thank you all for coming to this lecture. I would now open the floor for the next 10 minutes or so. If any of you have any questions, please unmute yourself, and Professor Naganath would be glad to respond to that. Thank you. Naganath, probably you can stop the sharing of the screen.
Okay.
So that you can see who is there.
Yeah, that's great. No, ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, the questions ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. So you can remove this. You can enlarge it. They can see me also.
Thank you. If any of you have any questions, please unmute your.
I do have a question. Looks like he was the first one to reject the Aryan invasion theory. Looks like he was way ahead of his time. And how did the general public or the scholars of that time react to that theory?
It's a very interesting question. I have studied this, from different angles. First person to voice this was Swami Vivekananda. In the last decade of 19th century, he said, there is no proof or evidence for Aryan invasion. But as a historian, Dr. Srikanta Sastri came to realize this was a linguistic theory hoisted on a race. And the Westerners wanted to justify the Aryan invasion theory from a political perspective. And then came Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. They were discovered in the 1920s and 30s. That upset all their calculation. They had to place Aryan invasion after that. So we had a civilization, culture, language, and fully developed cities prior to Aryan invasion. And if you talk about Aryans as steppe people from Mongolia invading a highly civilized country and gifting us with Sanskrit and Vedas, it was a bit too much. And Dr. Srikanta Sastri wrote an article about this for Bhartiya Vidya Bhavan History Series, edited by R.C. Majumdar. These 8 volumes were published at different stages. In the first volume, Dr. Srikanta Sastri was asked to write about Aryan invasion. And then he sent an article rejecting the whole theory and giving his evidence. Unfortunately, R.C. Majumdar sidelined it or marginalized it and published an article in the first chapter justifying the invasion, and my father's article was published in Annexure. And my father was furious. He was angry. Even today, in volume 1, Bharti Vidya Bhavan, History of the Indian People and Culture, you can find Dr. S. Srikanta Sastri's original article in Annexure. It appears in Annexure. Today, out of India theory takes the center stage, and Aryan invasion theory is not subscribed to even by Western scholars. And now genetics have proved that DNA could have traveled from India to Anatolia and Europe, and language could have traveled from India to other parts of the world. And there is no proof or evidence of genetic DNA in the North Indian population from Mongolia or from Central Asia. So Dr. S. Srikant Shastri intuitively came to conclusion there was no Aryan invasion, number one, and he knew the languages, and he thought the High German, Armenian, and Latin and Greek and all the other Indo-Aryan group of languages may have originated from Sanskrit. It may be Proto-Sanskrit. And this will be proved someday. And we keep finding a lot of evidence now all over the world for the Indian cultural invasion. In Mexico, they have found Ganesha statue. There were no elephants in North America or South America. So somebody must have taken it from India. And in Egypt and in Babylonia, Sumeria, Assyria, and even in Turkish region, Indian influence was very strong. So, of course, my father kept writing about it later on, both in Kannada and in English, and his writings are available. And he stuck to his theory despite the Aryan invasion theory was observed as a official theory in India for a long time. And it is even today accepted in Cambridge and Oxford. And they give it a lot of importance and they subscribe to it.
I can.
I mean, it's pretty much discredited right now, the Aryan invasion theory. But to think of somebody that said this is wrong so many years ago, it's simply remarkable. And also this out of Africa migration is slowly giving way to out of India migration. Thank you.
And in
also
fact, I want to mention only one thing. Srikant Shastri mentions in Bhartiya Samskruti, the human migration could have started from India to Southeast Asia and maybe to Australia. And he believed that the New Zealand language, he has written about it. In New Zealand language, the original language has Sanskrit words.
And incidentally, I may also mention that about the Aryan invasion theory, my uncle, Dr. S.R. Ramaswamy, actually Nana's cousin too, has written an extraordinary book that Aryan invasion has no basis, no evidence. In Kannada, those of you who know Kannada, Aryara Akramana Budavillada Vada. There is no evidence whatsoever.
Baseless theory.
It's baseless to say that. So again, another very beautiful book on negating Aryan invasion theory by Dr. Srikanta Sastri's nephew, brother's son.
Thank you.
We may have time for one more question.
So today I could see Naganath, who has been often mentioning about the Srikanta Sastri and other things whenever we used to meet in the college. And otherwise, today I see him in full swing, giving us plenty of information. And even Dr. Aswath Garu also was mentioning about Srikanta Sastri now and then. Now we have got a detailed work done by the Sastri, a monumental work connected to our Indian culture, Vedic civilization, and especially trying to fix up with the dates and also tell what the four Vedas talk about. It's all very much informative. I think you should pursue more and more, give 1, 2, 3, 4 lectures on Shastriji, taking one of the important, any of the important books. For example, I see this the Indian culture, and everybody is found nowadays the Sanatana Dharma. There are so many comments against all these things, but talks like this will definitely explain to others how valuable our Sanatana Dharma. Nobody can talk. Valmiki, Vyasa, Mahan, they don't like the idea of dating the Vedas, dating the Ramayana, Mahabharata. But Dr. Max Muller and Westerners, they started the game of trying to fix up the dates and all that. But we simply go by the word Sanatana and Adhunatana. These are the two safe words which we can go on. So thank you, Naganath, to have met you here.
It is my pleasure, Dr. C.L. Prabhakar, who was my colleague for more than 2 decades. And I always respected him as a great Sanskrit scholar. When we were together in National College, Jayanagar, he got an opportunity to visit New York. He presented a paper on Rigveda, if I'm right, at United Nations organization. There was an international seminar, and we are all very proud of him. I'm happy to see him in good health, and may God give him long life. Thank you, sir.
Incidentally, Dr. Prabhakar's PhD thesis is on Shukla Yajurveda. And in fact, Dr. Prabhakar and myself, we have had several occasions. We shared the same platform. And then he has been a great friend for the last about 25 years, Prabhakar Garu.
Yeah.
For more than 25 years, Dr. Prabhakar and I have enjoyed his wonderful scholarship and company. We will have Dr. Prabhakar Garu also. We had him on Pratibha Mancha. We will again, I would invite you again to speak on the aspect of Bhartiya Samskruti as reflected in the Vedas. So I'll look forward to your presentation also.
Yeah, this Aswath Garu has visited our Kendra and had given lectures also. And he has been honored, and he was given Samskruta Sri, not Sri Aswath. So it was Samskruta Sri, meaning that this kind of Satya Sahitya Samskrita Seva going on, and so many people are getting to know what has been dormant because they have no opportunities and they're all busy with their own professional excellences. And so to get to come to the platform, historical also, that is history as our great support. That everything has got history, but this history, he said itihasa. There, the iti ha asa. Itihasa is again, thus it was. But what was it? Ha, Ascharya, surprise, amazement, astonishment, wonder, and wonder. Something like, you see. So that's why itihasa, even in English, he story is his story. So he is again surprise, Ascharyam. And like that, we have this history or Sanatana or Aditihasa, and all these things are telling us that we keep on opening our mouth and wondering how our ancient people have been very active, energetic, and contributory. And we don't get much information about their personal life. And they suppress it, but they project only their knowledge, wisdom, and contribution to the people. Something like Srikanta Sastri, So in 74, of course, I heard his name, but not much, only through our Naganath, often quoting him and all that. But in Mythic Society also, he was very much well known, and especially the Aryan civilization and Aryan invasion, and the word Arya, a lot of debate and discussion going on, but it will not stop.
You may also remember on Pratibha Mancha, we had a talk on Sanatana Dharma by Hari Ravikumar. We'll have more on this subject. On this note, we will conclude tonight's session. I'm very grateful to Professor Naganath once again. We look forward to your second soon. I'll work with you, which is a convenient date for you. I wish you all a wonderful night, and thank you very much for being here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. We'll reassemble again next Monday for.
So we will have Naganath ji again on our World Association for Vedic Studies and Nada Vedachala Kendra dais virtually. So we request you, sir, for a convenient date. So once again, we will have an opportunity to listen to him because he's a wonderful speaker. I mean, all my children are his students. And Jeff, when I say yes, yes, son, oh, yes, son. Because, but anyway, very happy to see you. And you are yet energetic, more energetic should be further. Thank you.
Thanks for your blessings, sir. Your blessings.
Thank you. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Have a wonderful night.
Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaskar. Thank you, Sudhir. As always, without his support, Pratibha Mancha will be very, very weak. Thank you, Sudhir, for your help. We'll conclude the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.